Hello everyone, I'm Darren Magee, and today's topic is coming from a question that asks, what are the signs that someone is only using you? Now there is a lot I could put in this video, but I'm just going to outline 8 signs that someone doesn't really care about you, has no real interest in you, other than what you can do for them. And the following could apply to a relationship with a partner, a friend, family member, even in the workplace. But there would also be a long-term persistent pattern to the behavior. So let's begin. The first sign is that your value is based on what you can do for them or what you can give them. It's like you're a tool or a resource. They don't view the relationship based on any kind of deep connection or mutual respect, but rather on what they get out of it, and they tend to give little to nothing in return. Now, a sign of this could be the only time you ever hear from them is whenever they want something. And yes, they could well be very pleasant and friendly when they're asking for something, but the rest of the time there's nothing, maybe just an occasional text message, but no real commitment to you or the relationship. Secondly, their expectations of you and the relationship are unfair or unrealistic. For instance, they might expect you to be clairvoyant, be able to not only anticipate their whims, but also to know whenever they've changed their mind. They might expect you to drop everything for them at a moment's notice, regardless of anything else you may have planned. And also, they could expect you to give without expecting anything in return. They could even give off little signals of their own to remind you of your role and what's expected of you. You might hear things like, blood is thicker than water, or love is always kind. They might tag you on posts on social media, things like, true friends are always there for you no matter what. Or put posters up in the workplace with things like, we only expect the best, or something. But the thing about the unrealistic expectations and how to identify them is, if you ever notice, they never hold themselves to the same standards. You ask them for anything and they either act like you're being demanding or you're being a nuisance. Next, they've no real interest in you as a person or in any part of your life. Now, you might get a superficial "how are you," but they never really listen whenever you try to tell them what's going on with you. Now, they might feign an interest, but they don't really care about your problems or have any interest in your good news other than how it might benefit them. Now, if they do show concern, it might come across as superficial and just full of platitudes, things they probably think you'd want to hear rather than actual engagement or support. Their only concern is what you can do for them, and your being ill or having other priorities are an inconvenience to them. Now, a sign of this could be is they're fine just as long as they're getting what they want from you. But if for some reason you can't give them what they want, they're not really interested in the why. They might sulk, get angry, behave like you're treating them unfairly, or just dump you and go elsewhere. Number 4, the relationship is one-sided. Now granted, some people may have a lot of commitments and responsibilities and they aren't always available. But it's you that makes all the effort. You arrange the nights out. You ask them to meet up for coffee. They rarely call or text you. And not because they're too busy, but just because you're not that important to them. Now if you've made plans together, they might just cancel at the last minute because, well, maybe they had a better offer. Or maybe they just don't turn up at all. It's like they forgot. And they expect you to be okay with it. And if they ask you for a meet-up, well, could be because maybe they want something, or because no one else was available. But either way, they treat you as if you're just an option. Number 5. If they have ever done anything or ever do anything for you, they behave as if you're indebted to them for life. They'll make a big deal out of it. You owe them, and it's a debt that could never be repaid. Like that time they let you borrow money, which you've long since paid back. The time they gave you a lift in their car, or the time they helped you with something. No matter what you do or have done for them since, you can never repay their debt. They hold it over you and constantly remind you, especially whenever you're unable to do something for them. Moving on to number 6. They volunteer your time, your resources, your services to others without checking with you first. And they expect you to fulfill their promises. Yes, of course he'll drive you there. Of course she'll fix that for you. They behave as if you work for them. And they might even put you in a position where it feels difficult to say no without looking selfish. And not only is a third person now dependent on you fulfilling a commitment that you never made in the first place, but it could be something that just keeps happening over and over again, no matter how many times you raise the matter. They just don't listen. Which leads me on to number 6. They have no respect for your needs or your boundaries. How you feel about something isn't that important. They'll take your stuff without asking, embarrass you with unkind humour, tell people things that you told them in confidence. If you say no to something, well, they'll tell you you're not a real friend, you don't care, or you mustn't love them because you won't give them what they want. They'll keep on asking and whinging until you give in, because what they want is much more important than what it'll cost you. Number 7 is behaving like they're doing you a favour by being your partner or your friend or even just working with you. You get no thanks or appreciation for anything you do. It's like they're entitled, so it's just expected. They expect you to show gratitude for the privilege of their company by doing anything and everything they want, meeting their demands. They're entitled to your gratitude and your service, but rarely, if ever, show any reciprocation. Lastly, number 8. When they've got what they wanted, or maybe you've got nothing left, if you're of no further value to them, then just like a parasite that's drained its host, they'll dump you and go find someone else to live off. And if they ever come back, it could be because maybe you have something else they want, or maybe you can do something for them, or perhaps they have no one else. But quite commonly, when they do come back, they'll behave as if they've never been away, like you're not supposed to have noticed. So there are just 8 signs that someone is taking you for granted, exploiting you, or only using you for what they can get from you. But the thing about relationships is that there tends to be a minimum of 2 people in them, so it tends to take a minimum of 2 people to make them work. Without mutual support, respect, cooperation, and so on, the relationship can't last. It isn't sustainable. But when only one person is doing all the work, doing all the giving, and getting little to nothing back in return, sooner or later they're done. It's like they've nothing left to give. Many people begin to see the other person as just being thoughtless and selfish and recognize they deserve better. They stop wasting their time, energy, and resources, and they seek out those who do appreciate them. Now, there are many other things I could have added, such as intimidation and emotional blackmail, but do please feel free to add anything I may have missed in the comments section. There are some interesting conversations start from these videos. But if you find this topic to be interesting, please consider subscribing to my channel, and until next time, thanks for watching.